committee meeting to order at 6 p.m. I will do roll call. We have a quorum. We have trustee Saylor and trustee Hummel on. Look for a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes from the agenda for this meeting and the minutes from the June 25th, 2025 meeting.
I make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda and the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing nothing, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Those are approved. Looking number 5 on the agenda, public comments on agenda items. We have 3 people that would like to talk. I will take Craig Tim, who is present with us. You can go first, please.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to comment on an important issue concerning Nepco Lake. And again, as Rick mentioned, I am Craig Tim, and I'm here representing officially Domtar. Just a couple comments I'd like to share. As you are aware, the lake was actually developed in the 1920s, so it has a long life, and I'll talk about that in a second, to provide clean water for the operations of paper making at that time in Port Edwards and in Nakusa. And that lake has served not just a water source, but also very much a recreational park. And pretty interesting, the centennial anniversary is going to be actually celebrated next month. So next month it'll be 100 years old. Domtar, and I'm here on behalf of Domtar, we are going on record to voice our opposition to the operation of wake making boats in the wake mode on Nepco Lake. Our number one priority is and always has been clean water, and it is vital to our operation. Scientific research that we have read and we have done indicates that wake making boating can certainly affect water quality, plant life, aquatic life, recreation, and it also can cause erosion on the shoreline. One thing that's very interesting as I was putting this together last Friday, July 18th, you may have seen the Wall Street Journal actually ran an article specifically discussing this topic all over Wisconsin. I was very surprised to see that in a national publication. Many counties, many municipalities are working to look at legislation to ban them or to do something to make it a better and do changes to help preserve the quality of Nepco Lake for another 100 years. I'm here to pledge our support to this committee. If you are interested in proceeding with any kind of legislation, either at the village level or at the county level, to restrict those, we pledge our support in helping with that. And again, I appreciate the comment and that opportunity to make comments today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have anything written that you?
I do. I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Give those to you. I probably have more than you need, but if you want to.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Put them in the record, you certainly can. Just one
We will do
copy
that.
for your work. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll get that to you. Okay, Jason, would you like to speak?
You're on mute, Jason.
You're muted, Jason. Okay, we'll circle back to him. Rick, and would you like to speak?
Yeah. I mean, I've commented before on this. I think one of the early meetings I was in on. So the main reason that I'm coming on today as it stays up is, we're fresh off the water ski tournament this past weekend. Brought $4 million of revenue into central Wisconsin like it always does. And it's just kind of top of mind for me as we think about these restrictions. And I think the last time I came on, a lot of what I had to say was just making sure that we've exhausted our opportunities to educate all users of the recreational area on the best way to utilize the resource. Just kind of together, whether you're a fisherman, a water skier, a wakeboarder, a wake surfer, I think there's a significant amount of education that can go into making sure the resource is utilized appropriately without these outright bans. And I think, we talk a lot about the negatives of whether it be wake surfing or, I've seen a laundry list of stuff kind of thrown into this now in terms of wake enhancement devices or ballast or weight. We seem to lose sight of all the important things that this recreational resource brings to the people who are using it to water ski and wakeboard and wake surf. Obviously the ski tournament is a perfect example of what we fostered with wake sports in central Wisconsin. Being able to bring in $4 million in a weekend to our community because of allowing these types of sports to proliferate. And a lot of that, came on the back of educating people to use these resources appropriately. And it just seems like we're skipping those steps. And it just seems topical given we're fresh off the tournament. So felt like some relevant stats and another opportunity to jump on and continue to voice some concerns with kind of the approach that's been taken thus far.
Okay, thank you for your input. Jason, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. And I apologize. I'm traveling at this point and going on my cell phone. So without notes, I will do my best. And apologize if I don't have good connection. But I agree. As a conservationist at heart, and I agree with both parties. And I agree that we need to look into this further. Number one, I think when I was going through notes and further information from the NEPCO Lake District meetings, there was on April 17th, I believe, and it was posted on June 7th, I guess direction on what the NEPCO Lake Board was discussing and trying to accomplish. One was a strategic vision. And so I agree with that. The second thing was basically being able to measure the water quality or enhanced measurement tools for water quality. And I thought that was important as well. And then number 3 was the shoreline survey and completing that so that we have information on what the current shoreline is like compared to what it was before, or at least going forward in the future. So I'm hoping to get an update on those 3 topics, so that we're able to make decisions going forward with all those things in mind. Again, when we're talking about those particular subjects and we're looking at NEPCO Lake, I don't know that we can really compare that to other parts of Wisconsin, considering we don't have the wakeboard boats out there at this time. And so from what I've heard in the past is that the quality of the water was actually improving. And so that's a positive thing. And the shorelines, I think that if anyone's been out there recently, you can see the damage that the wind has done by ripping up the trees and stuff like that. And that's going to continue to happen. So I think some of the things that are being, that we're reading about wakeboard boats, wakeboard waves, I just don't know how that really impacts NEPCO Lake. And then we also were doing a survey, NEPCO Lake District was, about the amount of boats that were coming into the boat landing and using that. I think we talked a few months ago about potentially seeing what boats are coming in, and I guess I'm wondering where we're at with that. If we actually have actual data to support whatever decisions that we're making. And I guess I'll just say that I think that we have to use all that information. I would also like to point out one other thing when I was looking at current literature, and that would be the Wood County zoning ordinances pertaining to shoreline surveys. compared to the Port Edwards Village ordinances. And there's a humongous discrepancy in what we're trying to accomplish. And I think sometimes we're trying to reinvent the wheel. Namely, the difference is it would be the current setbacks of houses in Port Edwards compared to what Wood County is proposing at 75-foot setbacks, as well as a buffer zone of vegetation to be able to a 35-foot setback in Wood County versus no setback standards of vegetation growth in the town of Port Edwards. And I think with, looking at that and not having any of those things in place and not really looking at those, it looks like if it's really what we're after is improving nature, the quality of the lake and stuff like that, I don't think banning wakeboard boats is going to get it done. And that's unfortunate. I think that we should take a step back and really come up with a plan that addresses all of the issues in a fair and appropriate manner that we can all get behind, promote, in the community, and really educate people moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. Anybody else on? No. Okay, moving on to number 6, chairperson comments. I do not have any. Update on status of 160 Market Avenue.
So in your packets, I've included, I was able to get a hold of, the contractors that, gave prices to the current owner of the 160 property. In front of you guys will see the roof, 25,000, and then, the repairing the back wall, mason cap replacement, painting north wall, replacement of steel windows and paint. You're roughly looking, 30,000 plus the roof or whatever. I did have able to reach out to Hugh. I did talk to him the other day on the phone. He basically told me that he is trying to get out of the government post office. If he would repair that building, would they come back? That was what he told me. Obviously, I've stated to him that the ordinances, the violations will keep being issued, which they are. And that we need to make some kind of decision. My concerns are the buildings next door, damaging, anything like that in the future. Again, he promised me he'd work on that. And I just said that I was gonna advise the committee tonight of the quotes and the status of the property.
So is this the roof and this is the building?
Correct.
So these gotta go together.
Correct.
It's like 70,000 for the entire repair, right?
Yes, yep, 30 and
And then right now they're on the hook for 17,000 in violations.
correct.
And what is our recourse for collecting this?
No, there's no recourse because it's in a corporation.
Okay.
We can, at a certain point, we could legally work with Nick and we could take over the building if that would be the choice. But then again, the village would have to come up with those fees to repair that building and try to turn it around and sell it, which assessed value on that, I believe was 55. I don't have it in front of me, but we went through that a couple months ago. I think it was like 55,000.
But the assessed value would go up if these are done.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
So
So did you give them a time frame on when you would like feedback?
I told him, man, the citations are gonna keep getting written, and I said, eventually the board will have to make an action, what we're gonna do. I didn't explain to him that we can't hold them accountable. I don't know if he knows that or not, but there's nothing we can do, so.
Okay,
I ran this by Nick many times. Nick was here a couple months ago and he didn't have any recommendation for us either, other than to keep doing what we're doing.
okay. Thank you. Right now, we're in a wait and hold status.
Yeah, I can keep pressuring. If you guys have any other ideas, thoughts, please let me know.
I don't think we want to take the property over until we've exhausted everything, and I don't know if we're there yet. Do any of the trustees have any different feeling? Okay. Thank you for the input. Moving on, update on the enhanced weight. You have some more information you would like, you included in the packet.
Yeah, so just some stuff that I was asked, last meeting, I was asked to reach out to the DNR. I did reach out to DNR, to Scott, and have a phone call conversation with him. He has no update. The DNR is looking at this situation. They haven't made any movement, according to what he told me. It's on the radar, but there's nothing from their department that's coming down strictly as of now. I also included in your packet, the Rome, it's obviously discussion down on the lakes, down in Rome. So in your packet has their board meeting, which they are working with Wakeboat Glass Wilderness Alliance. In there, they're looking at having a town hall discussing it. One member wanted to do a certain time, so it looks like they're in the same thing, trying to get some input from residents and seeing how they can put it together. So I did also reach out to Wakeboat Glass Wilderness Alliance, and a couple questions that they came back to me. Is obviously, since there's 3 identities in this property, we'd have to, the village would have to work with either Saratoga or Grand Rapids. We need 2 out of 3 to be involved in this, and then start, moving forward this with the DNR transmitted a letter, and, looking at putting this together. Obviously, it seems like the wilderness is where everybody's using right now. Looks like Rome they mentioned them in their minutes for names, and they have also 56 other communities have used Wilderness Alliance for drafting ordinances.
Have we reached out to Grand Rapids or Saratoga to see where their status is?
Not directly. I guess I'd be left, if that's the direction you want, I'd like you guys to point me in that direction. I've had conversation, but nothing on the record. I'd like so you give me permission. I get email from both of those.
I would recommend that we reach out to them to see what their status is and kind of unify. Because we can't act solo if we're gonna do anything, and then find out what the status is from those 2 other municipalities.
Okay.
You,
May I make a comment, please?
please do.
When you reach out, I would like to have a Lake District representative, be part of that discussion, since, we were the ones who, could somebody mute, please? Thank you, Jason. Since the Lake District was the one that proposed or requested the ordinance in the first place, I know Wood County has been very interested in that, and I've been asked to attend 2 different subcommittees of the Wood County supervisors to explain the situation as well. So neither one of those other municipalities have done the due diligence that that we are all doing right now to look at the issue. So I would expect to get a pretty vanilla kind of answer, if anything, like, well, what is it? I don't know anything about it, kind of thing. But I'd like to have a Lake District person join that conversation with Saratoga and Grand Rapids. I think the initial intent was to get the ordinance to see what Port Edwards is doing it. If Port Edwards doesn't take part in it, there's no reason to get Saratoga and Grand Rapids involved. So I don't know what information you're going to get at this point that is conclusive to what either of those parties would do with a request for an ordinance at this point.
Who do you recommend to be the NEPCO Lake District person? Yourself?
I would be willing to do that as chair, yes.
I'm okay with that.
So we're looking to set up a meeting or an email, so we have a copied piece of paper that we can.
Yeah, I'd at least like to see the email. I mean, again, I'm confused. What we're really asking them is, are they aware of wakeboat issues and ordinances, and have they brought it up before? Maybe those are the 2 questions, but maybe you and I could draft the email and take it from there.
Yeah, what's our status on this? And where do they see the municipality heading?
I mean, are they even interested in entertaining the ordinance
Correct.
as from a board aspect?
Okay,
Chairman
again,
Hassett, but
I'm not sure it's will be an informed response because they may or may not have much information about it, but let's fine if you want to do it.
We don't know where they stand. Betsy, President Ansel?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't we send an email, say, what have you heard? What is your interest level? Because again, I don't want us to be the only one that is putting in the energy and the effort if they have zero interest. Now, if they want to ask questions, I think we can work with that. But if they come back, let's say 1 out of the 2 come back with, we're not interested, we want nothing to do with it, well, that kind of answers a lot of our questions, honestly.
Correct.
I think it's different if they want to learn. I think it's different if they want, it's a different path if they want zero interest in it.
I agree. If they have no interest, then we even complete an ordinance, you need 2 out of the 3. So if both of them have zero interest, we're just spinning our wheels. But at least find out what their level, if they're interested, I agree with President Mansell. If they're interested in learning, then we can kind of learn together.
I think we could add to offer if their boards are interested in hearing about it, somebody could come and present at a board meeting.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, the only other thing on Wake, enhanced Wake, the Nepco Lake District, have we have any indication of what all the homeowners are in consensus agreement for some type of ordinance or restriction or not? You briefly talked about an August 16th meeting.
Yes,
Trustee.
I mentioned that we put out in the spring newsletter an opportunity to weigh in on that. We got 6 responses, 3 that were appreciative of the ordinance movement. 3 others that one didn't even mention the ordinance. They thought that the variance in beaches was a bigger problem, and only one of the Wake Board members, which I invited to speak to me, only one of those did at this point. I'm not saying that that's a signal of anything, but that's what we have. I would say that I think there's a comparison to be made about surveying everybody, and what we decided with the chicken situation. We decided not to go out and do a appropriate survey. We suggested a town hall and said, here's what I'm concerned about, everybody. While I hear a lot of wanting to slow things down, I'm here to want to take it slow. And the concern I have is the Wisconsin Water Sports Org, which Jason, you sent that information. I appreciate you doing that. Have a lobbyist. They're going to the legislators, and part of the deal is slowing it down means is the lobbyist going to stop what they're doing? I don't think so. And the second piece is, remember, part of the legislation they're promoting is that there be a statewide ruling on this, leaving out any input or decision-making by the local group. So I'm a little concerned about the idea we need to slow down, we need more information and so forth, because that association, again, with a paid lobbyist, is going full gun with legislators right now.
I agree with that statement. The only thing is any state legislation would overrule local municipality ordinances.
Yes, and true. But they'd have to undo things. And I think the idea of seeing the number of ordinances that already have been there might have a positive impact. And so I can't speak for other lakes and so forth, but I think it's valuable for us to continue to proceed. The DNR position, I want to say one other thing about that, because Eric, trustee Saylor brought that up. I think Scott Provost is absolutely correct. They're looking at things. They haven't made a decision, although they surveyed out and asked if people wanted the DNR to support and to take part in people sticking to ordinances and resolutions. I will say that, remember, every one of these ordinances had to go through the DNR to get approval. So all of them that have been approved so far have had DNR input to them, of the however many. I don't know the exact number, over 50 have had DNR presence in that decision making to move forward with the ordinance. So I just wanted to make sure people were aware of that.
Thank you very much.
This is Jason. Could I ask a question or a comment?
We normally don't do that. I will let you this time.
Okay, thank you. Much appreciated. And I guess I'm hearing what we're saying, and I'm concerned on a couple issues. And one is that even talking to other boards or communities is like, what are we presenting as factual that's evidence-based about Nepco Lake? And then the second thing is it does feel rushed, and I believe that's what I just heard, that we're trying to push this through without, using data from either houses or our community that use the lake. I mean, we ask for comments on an email. There's other ways to do that, whether it be Facebook or other spider surveys that are easy with a click of a button, a yes, no. I've talked to a lot of people around Nepco Lake. This is not sitting well, and it's very concerning. But
Jason, you're beyond your question, so I'm going to cut you off. I appreciate the input. The question, yes, we are trying to just get with local municipalities to see what their progress is, and we appreciate your input. Thank you.
I forgot to add something, if I could, please. On August 16th, as Craig Jim mentioned, is the annual meeting of the Lake District. And certainly there's a agenda item to give a report on the ordinance, and any property owner who's there, most of them come because we have to have property owner approval for a budget, have an opportunity to comment at that meeting. So instead of a survey, which again, we decided not to do with the chicken issue, I will contend that we have face-to-face opportunity to hear voices at that meeting on August 16th.
Where is that meeting?
At the Nepco Lake Park, and starts at 9:30. And then the celebration of the lake starts at noon.
Okay, I'll talk to you about that. Forward that information to me. I would appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody, for your input. I'm going to move on because we're not going to take any action on that today. We're still in the information gathering stage. Number 9, discussion of possible motion on updating village ordinance number 1, general government. So I guess I would like to have a motion to approve it as written in our packet.
I got a few questions on it.
Okay. We get a motion, then discuss, or do we go to questions?
Get motion and discussion, it's up to you.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Discussion, go ahead, trustee Saylor.
And since Scott's here, maybe he can answer the question too. Under the Police and Fire Commission membership, it says
What
that
page are you on?
page 1-4,
Okay, thank you.
it says the Police and Fire Commission shall consist of 5 members, none of whom shall be officers or employees of the village, appointed by the village president, subject to confirmation by the village board for a 5-year term. Who are the members right now? You got you, Tim Martin, Andrea,
Leo
Leo,
and Scott Drew.
and Scott Drew.
Yes.
Okay, so he took over because Mr. Diggles was on at one point, right?
At one time before he accepted a job within the village, that's when he had to resign.
Okay, so that's what, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know that
Sure,
that happened, so
sure.
we're fine with that.
Yep.
And then the whole public records thing just gives me heartburn. But I won't vote. I still agree. I still think that we should have one person handing out the records, department heads. Get the request, pass it to whoever that person is, and then that person looks at them and sends them out versus having, I think there was a part in here where it said department heads, the village office, Ben's position, whatever he's named this month, and whoever could add out or to hand out records. I think that's a messy way of controlling the records that are going out.
Okay, and which, if you were to change something,
Well, it was under the custodian. Custodian means it's on 1-7.
yep, custodian means officer, department head, division head, or employee of the village designed under subsection 3.
Yep, so as a custodian, I take that as anybody that creates a record. So that everybody's accountable because it says employee, division head, department head, blah, blah, blah. Everybody creates that record, but under the legal custodian, just a note,
Who distributes the access to,
and I read that somewhere. Each custodian upon request for any record shall as soon as possible without delay either fill the request or notify the requesters, whatever,
6B?
6B. I mean, there again, and then later down it says if a legal custodian, after confirming with the village attorney, determines that a written request is so general, they can choose to do it or not do it. I think by just having 4 people or 5 people be in charge of their records and be able to hand them out on a public records request, I think that's messy. Because now we have incurred attorney expenses, need be, whatever. I would just like to see that come from Ben's position or somebody's position, one in, one out.
Have we gotten any feedback from, our attorney that this is legal, I'm assuming, because he's reviewed these?
Yes, he's reviewed it and he didn't have any recommendation. I mean, he takes it as the custodian is the clerk / treasurer for everything except for, fire department, and, the fire chief should get rid of his. He took it as Diane is the custodian of that position to handle all public records. That's how he interpreted, but it's not really identified exactly in there. It's,
And the reason I bring this up is because at the school district, we have a district administrator or superintendent or somebody that's in charge of our district. All the requests can come from any department. It goes up through, and that person, whoever's sitting in that seat, deems that record request as sufficient. They gather the information. They're the ones that hand it off. The only reason I'm bringing it up in here is because just like the last election, during election time, things can get messy, mud can be thrown, whatever. And depending on what side of that fence, that person in that seat, now we should be unbiased, but I don't want that person to not give out records or give out records. I'd like it all to be funneled through one person. Just so we do not arm social media keyboard warriors with requests.
Okay, do we have any input from President Mansell or trustee Hummel?
Yes, I'd like to comment.
Please do.
So I would support trustee Saylor's advocation for one person. And my reason why is in any process, when you have multiple people doing the same thing, there isn't a lot of judgment involved in this, but there is some. And you're just inviting more variation in the system, the more people that do it. So having one person do it eliminates that. It would be consistent through all requests. regardless of who the request came from or what department it is involved or what employee or trustee is involved. I think it makes a lot of sense to have it go through one point.
Yeah, we can have the custodian as defined in 1.08 1B. Custodian then gives it to the village clerk, because in 1.083, the clerk treasurer B, unless otherwise prohibited by law, the administrative support coordinator treasurer shall act as legal custodian for the village board and any committees should. I mean, I can agree with having one person, but funnel it through that person from the custodians, which would be the officer, department head, et cetera. That's what you're looking at. I agree with that. Does that?
Just take the liability.
Stays that there.
Well, we just gotta figure out where it goes and whatever.
Yeah. President Mansell, any input?
Yeah, I can somewhat follow the thought process. However, I think if we would make a streamlined process policy that if there's a public records request, this is how we do it, whether it's the police, the fire, or Ben or Diane. But we also have to keep in mind that these people that we put in department head positions, this is what their job is, this is what their role, and this is why we hire them, is because we trust them to do the right thing. So I think my opinion is that we get a policy in place that is clear and consistent, and whether that means it all, I guess I'll just leave it at that, if that makes sense. I think that these are why our department heads are our department heads. This is why they are in those positions. And if we just have a clean policy, I think that would take out a lot of the guesswork. But that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. The way I read it is under the definition page 1.081, A, B, and C are all just definitions of who, what, as you define a custodian, a record, and an authority. And then the legal custodians enlisted in 3, each elected official is a legal custodian of his records, and the records, it kind of defines that there. But then it talks about the administrative support coordinator, clerk, treasurer. But it doesn't define the distribution of the public records for that. So are you suggesting a change to this, trustee Saylor? Okay, what would you like?
Where? I don't know. It's a lot of words there.
Yeah,
Well, you're talking in section 3 underneath B, right? Cause are we gonna including the fire department whose custodian shall be the fire chief?
I think so. I think the person, that sole person to hand out the record should be a full-time employee of the fire or the village. If that's Diane, if that's you, if it's whoever.
I think administrative support coordinator probably is the.
Is that your title?
No, that it would be Diane's. I mean, that's probably where,
And she did that in the past.
Yeah.
I think with other fire department issues, I think even police department issues, when Joe was the chief, when Jim Anderson was the chief, a lot of that stuff was funneled through the clerk treasurer.
then let me ask a question. If that was the way it was done in the past, we haven't changed any of this. Have we? It was
updated in 2023, but we also had a person, and I don't wanna throw anybody under the bus, but we also had an administrator that came in like a bad mamma jamma and had a team of interns and whatever, and they were spitting out data left and right. Was it? I mean, all the colors are,
we've got major issues with all of our ordinances, which I was gonna address at the end.
But this is
but-
not-
but
This wasn't included in the update in 2023. Nothing was changed here.
As far as we know, yes, this is the latest document we have. There's some documents that the previous administrator was taking old ordinances and updating them. So stuff that was prior from 2020 to 2022 or 23, was not included because he was updating a 2021 ordinance, if that makes sense. But
We
not
want
using,
the 21.
was not using the newest thing, and that's why now everything gets funneled through the office staff. One person, Kim does all the ordinance updates, and that's why she pencils it. And she's the one person. We were doing stuff in the administrator's office, so they were updating stuff, and it wasn't the stuff that was on current file. So that's,
Okay.
but we gotta move on from that. But I guess
I'm gonna suggest that we take a look at, we're gonna table this motion. To take a look at how we would just funnel it all through the administrative support coordinator, clerk treasurer. If you could follow up with Attorney Apps and how we would legally do that in this lawyer jabberies.
so that I'm good with that. I just wanna make sure I'm clear. So does that mean, are we asking for the fire department to, and the police, I mean, are we asking them to run all their stuff through the administrative support coordinator also? Just because if there's records and things like that.
Why is the fire broken out separately?
A lot of the fire department training records and different records do not come through the village server, right? I mean, things that happen over in that department, I mean, financial stuff comes through, but I mean, his things that go on or don't all come through the village or on a server. That's
It's just a written file.
it's written in files. I mean, that's, a big corporation. If you had an IT person, you'd just say, every email that Ben Martinson issued in the last 3 months, he'd type my email and he could come out with every email and send it to. I mean, we don't have that breakdown. I mean, obviously the office staff and things that run through here do, but that's a little bit of the question that I have.
Do we want it? I understand the location of the data is not in the administrative support coordinator's realm. But do we want to funnel it through there? And is it any different for the police?
That's
Police have different.
when it comes to legal stuff, I don't know what legal information can be handed to Diane and distributed.
I'm okay leaving that sentence in there, if that's the way we've done it in the past. I don't want to change it. I just want to try to funnel what you're saying is funnel the other activities through the.
I would funnel all the public works, the fire department, any village business minus the police department goes through the one.
So that this shall not include the fire department whose custodian shall be the fire chief. It would be removed in your scenario.
Yeah.
I think the fire chief is still going to be the custodian of the records. The issue at hand is who is distributing the records once the public records request comes in, correct?
It's the distribution, correct, the distribution. I think it's a distribution issue, not a custodian issue.
Everybody's a custodian. Everything here is a record. We are
Yes, I'm
all.
saying we can't strike that because legally he is the custodian. So we
Correct.
can't strike that.
Correct. It's a distribution issue that we should just look at the distribution of the public records will be going through. And where would we put that verbiage? Or
So I'll have Nick look at basically, you're telling me legal custodians, section 3. Line item B, we want that to read somehow that the administrative coordinator or administrative support coordinator is basically handing out all open records requests, and the department heads are still responsible for being their own custodians.
I don't even know if it falls in 3 because that's talking about legal custodians. It's really the distribution of the records.
Which is part of the procedure.
Yeah. And I'm just scanning it right now. That's public access to records feeds, access procedures. It's probably
In 6B, it says each custodian upon request for a record shall as soon as practicable and without delay either fill the request or notify the requester, blah, blah, blah. So instead of each custodian, it would say whoever that person is, the administrative.
yeah.
Clerk.
Whoever we want to funnel it through instead of multiple. That is where I would, if we want to go this route, that is where I see the change.
So to get rid of custodian and
6B.
Nick look at and put administrative.
Yeah.
Clerk. Okay.
Whoever we do that there. Do you follow that, trustee Hummel?
Yes,
Are you in agreement?
yes.
Okay,
Everybody's in agreement of putting the administrative clerk on that line item.
I
I'm gonna
am.
be happy.
Handing out the name. She's not finding the information.
Yeah, she's just
She just did like.
conferring with the attorney and
Because the custodians are responsible for gathering the information and making sure that it's the right information and following all legal rules.
It's not very often that we're getting open records on her. I mean, you might be getting records on administrator of other positions, so I think having Diane hand it out takes a little bit of that.
takes the bias off.
Yes.
Okay. Then,
Well, you had a first and a second.
and I will, what do I do? President Mansell, can we table this?
You can table it, or you can put bring it back in 30 days. Cause generally I believe when you table it, it's kind of left in no man's land, where if you would defer it for a month or 60 days or whatever the timeline you want on it, so that we can get this back, then we
Okay.
have to bring it back.
Thank you. I defer this motion for 30 days till the next, committee meeting. Is that appropriate?
And I'll update that with trustee apps and try to get that back to you guys in a week so you can look at it.
Thank you. One comment I will make is he put the village ordinance 76 in here, which is cemetery, which there's a whole bunch in there. So, thank you.
I think you need to amend your motion to say that, though. I'm sorry, I might have not. So I think you need to amend the motion to delay or defer it for 30 days, or 30,
Agreed.
whatever. So you have to still amend the motion to, we will bring this back in 30 days with a second, and then you still have to vote on it.
Okay, trustee Hummel, that was your motion.
Yes, sure, I'd like to amend the original, motion to, provide the opportunity to, consider any other adjustments and make wording adjustments. You don't have to put all that in, and bring it back at the next meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That amended motion is carried. Thank you. Number 10, update on DMI.
Nothing new since last meeting when I was reached out by DMI representative, Stacy, about, creating some of the DMI property into residential that is on, I guess, Old Highway 73, you could call it. So
So has Stacy made contact with DMI? And,
Stacy works with DMI.
okay,
So
has
Stacy-
the state.
Kansas State is trying. They have not heard anything back from DMI.
Okay,
So,
interesting. Thank you. So where does Stacy, that property along 73 between there and the river? They're looking,
the other side, the river side is owned by Domtar. That'd actually be on the other side, to be between the railroad tracks, the rail yard and Old Highway 73.
They wanna put residential housing on the old highway?
She just reached out to me and asked me who would I contact to create residential property in the wetland that is between Old
So
Highway
instead of,
73.
instead of worrying about building new property, let's worry about taking the property and cleaning that up. That'd be my suggestion.
I agree.
That's all I got out of her.
Okay, thank you.
She said she could not comment on anything else.
Okay.
So the money's coming.
Number 11, discussion of possible motion to add 3 short-term parking spots on Second Avenue in front of the high school. Do you want to give a discussion?
Yes, so I was reached out, by Administrator Bina. He was asked through our school board president, Mr. Thomas Guard, if the village could look at creating 3 spots on Second Street between Washington Avenue and Levine for 15-minute short-term parking. This would be if people are picking up their kids from the high school for
Thank you.
appointments. This would be for elderly people coming to see the school or down in the old Alexandra Auditorium. They do hold Christmas events during the day, Christmas cheer and other things. If we could create, the parking, I said I would bring it to the committee. I recommended if this would go, that he would purchase the 3 signs, the village would put a post in. We would paint white lines in the pictures. I went up to Assumption High School. That's where I've got the 15-minute parking like they have. And then in your packet also has the ordinance that I work with Kim to update a draft of what the ordinance would change to accommodate those 3 spots.
And so that's except for the 3 dedicated 15-minute spots.
Correct.
Okay, my clarification question.
Yep.
You're talking 3 spots, these 3 spots.
Correct.
So there's 1 in between Adams and Washington, and then 2 in between Washington and Levine.
Correct. There's a fire hydrant, so we'd stay well
That's
15 feet away.
And that's on the east side,
Everything would be on the east side, correct?
and there is physical room for that.
Is that yellow sidewalk or a yellow curb right now?
Some of it is yellow because there's a fire hydrant. Then there's a lot of no parking signs there.
Okay,
So we'd have to just clean it up or whatever. And create those spots.
I guess, I'm looking for a motion to move this forward. I guess I'll make the motion to add 3 15-minute parking spots on the east side of Second Avenue, directly in front of the high school for drop-off pickup. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but then I have a question.
Yep. Okay, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
So I think it's a need, having gone to school or having picked kids up, dropping kids off, whatever. I think it's fine. I'm for it. I just don't wanna see it because it came from the school board president that they use that spot as, I mean, if it's 15-minute parking, it's 15-minute parking. No, it's not go in there and have an hour-long meeting with somebody or whatever. I could park somewhere else and come there, but if it's temporary parking, it's temporary parking. Drop off, come in, go out, do what you need to do, pay a bill, do whatever.
I agree with that. My question in the discussion phase is how are we gonna monitor the 15 minutes? So it doesn't turn into an hour long.
It'll just be drive-bys if they.
It's an ordinance that's created, so the police department can enforce this ordinance.
Okay.
That's why by changing the written ordinance in here, we've got legal documentation. If they wanna issue citations.
Kind of on the honor system because they don't drive by all the time. So it's, if they drive by and the car's still there in an hour, they know it's.
I think other schools, and I don't know if Nakusa got them, like I said, I went through Assumption, they had the spots, and I don't know if Nakusa does this. Have this, it seemed like it's gonna be kind of a common
We have a
practice.
big parking lot in front of our school. We don't have side roads and all that in Nakusa, so it's not as a concern. At the elementary school, it's a big round off, so you can come, you drop your
Yep.
student off, then you just turn around and come back around. So we don't have the need as much in
Okay.
Nakusa, but.
Kind of like the elementary school has the horseshoe.
Any discussion from trustee Hummel?
Yes, I do. I'm certainly in favor of the parking spaces. My question is, other than the signs which the school is going to pay for, who's going to pay for the rest of the work that needs to be done? The painting, the time in employees and so forth. Who's paying for that?
Right now, we paint over there by the school, we paint the yellow, the sidewalks and all that stuff, so we're painting white paint, so putting the 2 lines on, the village would paint that. And, the signpost would be 3 signposts that, we have old signposts that we've taken down from parks and different areas that the village crew would install, unless you guys would have something different.
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you my position. Sorry if it's provocative, but the school district just got a huge referendum to do work. Our budget is very tight, and I think the school district ought to be paying for that, not the village.
Yeah, I can, email back to, I guess if we, to trust, we passed this motion and I guess we passed it and I will send it back to Administrator Bina that they're responsible for purchasing the signs, hanging the signs. And if you'd like me to figure out, How much white paint it would be to paint those marks, I guess I could figure out, or they could hire their own painter. Guess that's up to you guys.
Let me ask, I'd agree that there's maybe applicable for some compensation. But does the village crew have time to do this where it's not adding cost? Or are we rejecting away from other things?
We're talking in half an hour's worth of work at the most.
So
You're
it's,
taking two signs and pounding them in, and then
so we're not redirecting them from other work that's gonna cost us over time to do.
no, nothing that
Okay,
like I said, the painting, we're over there doing the crosswalks.
they're
So
doing them
they're-
anyway, so they
so,
go over there and
yes.
finish it. Okay.
I think when it comes to the roads, you know, we own well, we don't own the
Yeah.
roads, but I mean, the roads are our
We-
responsibility, so.
Correct, correct.
So to have and I'm not opposed to having, you know, we can build them the time, you know, instead of having them, Chris Martin come over there and start painting on the roadways. You know, we wouldn't allow any other business or house to paint curbs and
No, I
lines.
agree with you.
So if we wanted to seek compensation, then Ben can bill it out to them. If it takes a half an hour and it's minimal, then say we allow Ben to,
I agree. If it gets exorbitant, excess of time, whatever we want to define that as, several hours, we could seek and see if the communication would they be willing to compensate the village for the time?
You guys set it whatever you want, yeah. You tell me what you like and I'll enforce it, and if we go over, we'll charge them.
oh, you just did it.
Okay. Trustee Hummel,
Yes,
any input, other input? Are you okay with that?
actually, I'm not okay with it, but, we probably ought to call it to vote.
Okay. So the motion is that we add 3 dedicated 15-minute parking spots for drop-off pickup directly in front of the high school on the east side of Second Street. And the village will do the work associated with painting the signs or painting the street and, I don't think it's curved, the hanging of the signs. We will look if it's excessive and it's taking time away from our crew, we can look for compensation from the school. But I think that motion is getting very complicated. So I'm going to just say that we're gonna accept 3 dedicated 15-minute spots for early drop-off pickup, and we will look at painting and hanging the signs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No,
Okay. That motion is carried 2-1. Chapter 2 of the village ordinances.
I included this for you guys to review, over the next month or so, and if you want to send me directly changes that you'd like to see, we can start working with the office staff to get them updated, so that next meeting, we can start looking at those updates. I'm sure it'll be 2 or 3 meetings, so like I said, this is free to look over, and if you see anything you want changed, let me know, otherwise, the next meeting, we can start going through the changes and start making these changes, so by October, we can, approve section 2.
You sent those out, you said?
They're in your packet, right?
Oh,
Red means it no longer exists anymore, or red means it was changed, or
oh, there it is, yes, okay.
do they still have local business meetings? I think Bert used to be in charge of that, but I don't know if they still do that.
We had one the other day,
Okay.
so again, hats off to Kim and Diane. Like I said, we just recently realized that there's a lot of changes and updates that were done to the ordinances and stuff got taken out. So they are trying to take everything back from 2020 to 2025, and between the minutes and everything, try to create the ordinances that everything was voted and accepted on in the past. So this is from what everything they've seen, this is the newest copy, and this is the one that we would be updating.
So asking a question, continuing what trustee Saylor said, the front black is updated in 21, blue is updated in 24, green is updated in 25.
Correct, 'cause that's when we changed the board meetings from Tuesday to Wednesday, if you look in.
What is red?
Red was stuff that I believe previous administrator has adjusted,
Taken out or added?
added.
Prior to? Or in what time frame?
This was added during the administrator's time here at the Village of Port Edward, so 2022, 23.
So between 21 and 24 is red.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So that's,
But red does not exist in there now. Red was changed during previous leadership and could be added back
correct,
or adjusted.
correct, because you gotta remember, if you look at some of the red, he was changing the committees.
So red was in the adopted, the 9/10/24 change?
This was something that was changed in 2022 and 23.
So it was included in the 24 and 25 changes.
Yes, but some of it wasn't, like, some of it wasn't on the newest. Again, what happened is previous administrator was updating ordinances that wasn't the current ordinance that the village voted on. So they were adding things that was already in there or could have been taken out and stuff that happened previously. So basically the girls had to take all chapter 2, 2021, 2022, 2023, 24 and look up each line item, what was voted on if the board made a motion in 2022 to change an ordinance. And he used a 2021 copy. Anything that was voted on 2022 was not in the newest ordinance. Does that make sense? Because he was updating old
So
ordinances.
this is the current combined.
This is the
copy,
current, this is fresh today. They just got this finished.
and
So,
combined with
Yeah.
all the
yes.
board voted on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this ordinance here is the one that you'd be looking to make changes and updates on.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sorry.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Review that for next month. We'll put that on the agenda. Discuss old business, any old business.
At the last board meeting, we talked about, I think we were supposed to approve a chapter or something, and then I asked to see D. And it had never read it. So we tabled that.
At
the
chapter
village?
1. Oh, that was 5. That was section 5.
Okay,
So
so,
was that past committee here? It was tabled at the board meeting.
okay,
Right.
so we just need to read it on our own and then that's gonna be on the agenda for
The board
board
meeting.
meeting?
Yes.
And I sent it out right after the board meeting that night. I can resend it out again.
It's,
Do you have? Cause I wanna say that Chairman Hess had, the fire department's version.
Yep.
And I don't know if that was part of,
That was
You
included,
emailed out.
that was included in there. His was 3 pages and the village's one was.
Okay.
Previous one was 6
it
or
was
7.
handed out in that, and I had
okay, I'll look at it.
that,
I
I
can
gave
send it
you
out
the
again.
copy after this of both of them. I compared word for word.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else, old business? Trustee Hummel?
No, I'm just gonna make a comment. I really appreciate you all letting me, comment on things tonight. Thank you.
Yep. New business. I do not have any.
So I'll, when trustee Humble gets back, we will meet up and work on drafting, email to send out to, the board presidents of, Saratoga and Grand Rapids. So we'll have that back to you guys for next month.
Okay, thank you. Any correspondence? I did not receive any.
No.
Future agenda items, Village Ordinance 1 and 2. And then the enhanced wake update from the, reaching out to the other municipalities.
Yeah, is there any other information that you guys would like me to work on, research, I guess, on that topic?
Well, maybe. I have
I
a
think that
question.
they have. Sorry,
Go ahead.
whoever first.
Go ahead, President Mansell. I'll get to,
Okay, I think if they would have questions, let's say that these different municipalities don't know, you can always refer them back to our meetings where there were those presentations given. So that they can look at that, just so that we're not reusing other people's time. And if they have in those resources, give them their contact information in the meetings that they were at. And then if they want to reach out to those individuals for more questions, I think that should be up to those municipalities, if that makes sense.
yep, yeah. Trustee Saylor.
My question is, and it can be part of the agenda, and I don't know who to ask, but who owns the water?
And I think Mr. Humble can answer this, but the bed of the water was created by the paper mill years ago.
So they own the bottom of the lake,
Bed of it, they call, yes.
yeah, and then who owns the water? DNR?
The public owns the water in Wisconsin.
Okay, and then the Lake Association is in charge of creating policy for the lake, or? And those questions I can ask.
Unless, I think Trustee Humble can answer that, but the Lake District is responsible for, they're doing the weed cutting and maintaining things.
I just wanna know where we are in the order of this and and then who can ever answer that question, maybe that's where I'm trying to get to, is who to ask. I don't wanna do a lot of work and then the state comes and says, or whatever. So if it is the DNR, if it is the Lake Association, if it is, Domtar, I guess we kind of heard everybody's opinion. And then it's up to us, but.
From what the research I have,
Anybody.
the DNR, like I said, they're not putting no ordinances, enforcing anything right now in play. So anything that would be created would be a local ordinance by the Village of Port Edwards with a 2 to 3 vote. And that would have to be enforced by
All 3 municipalities?
all 3 municipalities. And I don't believe the county is actually putting this in place. So I don't know if the county will enforce this either. I don't know that. I can work with Chief.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think this has to be enforced only by local police, which Grand Rapids has police. Obviously Saratoga uses Wood County. So this would only be if Grand Rapids officers and the Village of Port Edwards officers, but I could be wrong.
Cause I guess my little confusion with this is we hear a lot of public comments. We've heard a lot of presentations. We've gotten a lot of paper one way or the other. But I'm just wondering where we sit in this. If we make a decision, are we getting trumped by this person? If we don't make a decision, does this person, I don't know.
I understand your dilemma, and I have the same thought process. If who's responsible for that water?
Yeah. We're hearing the Lake Association, we're hearing,
Domtar created the lake
Domtar.
in 100 years ago, and they use that water for, that's where they get their input off, rather than the river, because of the color in the river. So that is their input for that. So they owned all the, pardon me?
They're supporting an ordinance that the village will put it in place.
Correct. They owned all the property around it until they sold it to Pavelski's and then let them develop it.
Yeah.
So then it became a public lake. Before that, it was relatively, it was owned, the property around it was owned by Domtar.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Trustee Humble lost Wi-Fi, so just so everywhere.
That's all I have for future agenda items. Next meeting date,
Next week.
8/27? I think, and did your last meeting, when
I
did you
didn't create one. It's not on my agenda.
notice that? We were talking, adjourned it.
But Chief Zerflu kind of mentioned the date because when they're asking
We don't need to
garbage,
listen to him.
the garbage people.
He said the 27th, I think.
27th.
At 5 o'clock, I think is what we're doing.
You're doing 5?
I think that's what we did this year or today, right?
Are you gonna be a half hour or an hour?
Half an hour, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna be approving the garbage.
Yeah. Half hour. So
So-
5 to 5:30.
We'll go at 5:30 then. 27. Is he back?
I'm trying to bring that.
And then you,
Okay, next meeting, August 27th at 5:30. Welcome back.
Thank you. August, what date?
27th, fourth Wednesday in August.
At 5:30.
Yeah,
ours was at 5.
Okay, if no objection, I'm gonna adjourn at 7:10. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Yep, thanks.